Have you ever stood by the window, early in the morning, and watched the world wake up without you? The sun rises like it always has, the birds still sing, but somehow everything feels quieter now. You used to be in the middle of it all, rushing to get the kids ready, making coffee while answering the phone. Your life was full, noisy, moving, and now the silence is louder than anything ever was. Why does the world feel so still, even when your heart is still beating? Why does the air feel heavier when the memories begin to stir? Isn't it strange how we can feel lonely, even in a house full of love, a house filled with photos, drawings from grandkids on the fridge, and voices that now live only in echoes? What happens to joy when life slows down? How do we keep going when so much of what once defined us, our careers, our children, our routines, is now behind us? And here's the question that tugs quietly on the edge of morning. Are we still allowed to dream, even at 70? In this video, we'll talk about something that might surprise you. Not a miracle pill, not a breakthrough cure, but something much simpler, much older, much more honest. Why walking every morning after 60 can add 10 years to your life, not just to your calendar, but to your spirit, to the way you feel in your bones, to the way your heart opens again when the world greets you with morning light and your body remembers it still belongs to the earth. Because walking, simple as it sounds, isn't just about health. It's about hope. It's a quiet ritual that says, I'm still here. I still matter. Maybe it's been years since you walked without a destination, not to the grocery store, not through a parking lot, but simply to feel your body move for you, to let your thoughts wander as your feet do the same, to hear your breath join the rhythm of your steps, to let your worries dissolve into the rustling trees and the hum of morning life. Let me share something with you. There's a small town in Italy, you've probably heard of places like it, where the elders live to be 100 or more, not because they have expensive gyms, not because they eat kale smoothies or track their steps on fancy watches, but because they walk every single morning to the bakery, to church, to visit friends. They walk to feel alive, and their bodies respond by living longer. Science backs it, yes. Walking increases blood flow to the brain. It lowers your risk of heart disease. It improves sleep, digestion, even memory. But I'm not here just to give you statistics. I'm here to tell you something deeper, something no doctor's chart can show. When you step outside each morning and the sun touches your face, you're not just walking toward health, you're walking toward yourself. You're saying, I still have chapters to write. I still belong to this world. And here's something beautiful. You don't need to go far, just to the mailbox and back, just around the block. Even a few minutes can remind your heart it still has rhythm, still has music left to play. You'll notice things you forgot to notice. A squirrel darting across the fence, the scent of dew on cut grass, the quiet smile of a neighbor who's walking too. Maybe for the very same reason. Walking becomes a kind of prayer, a small act of faith in your own tomorrow. Because when you walk, you gently tell your body, I forgive you for aging. You tell your heart, I'm still listening. You tell your spirit, there's more life here, if I choose to feel it. And you don't have to be fast. You don't have to go far. You don't even need a destination, just a willingness to take one step and then another. In the rest of this video, we'll walk with you. We'll talk about how walking can heal loneliness, how it strengthens more than just your legs, and how, even after everything life has taken, a morning walk can still give you back to yourself. Because life doesn't end at 60, sometime it just begins again. A little slower, a little softer, but no less meaningful. In part 2, we'll go deeper into how a simple morning walk helps lift the weight that aging sometimes brings. Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. We'll explore how morning light changes your mood, how movement invites peace, and why the quietest path might lead you to the loudest kind of joy. But for now, maybe just open the door, step outside, and take a breath. The road is waiting. Sometimes it's not the body that feels heavy, it's the heart. You might wake up early, not because you want to, but because sleep doesn't come like it used to. The bed feels too quiet, the room too still, and before your feet even touch the floor, a certain weight settles in. That ache isn't always physical. It's the ache of memory, of missing someone's voice, of wondering where the years went. But what if you didn't start the morning inside those thoughts? What if you let the sky hold them instead? There's something about the way the morning light lands on your skin, especially after 60. It doesn't just warm you, it wakes something that forgot it was still alive. When you begin to walk, even if it's slow, even if it's with a cane, you're telling your sadness, you're allowed to come along, but you don't get to steer today. Because here's the truth, walking is more than movement. It's medicine for invisible wounds. When the soles of your shoes hit the earth, you're reconnecting with something ancient. We were made to move, gently, steadily, forward, and there's power in that. You might pass the same trees each morning, but today you notice how one leaf clings to its branch, how the breeze moves like a whisper, how the light filters through like grace. That's not just nature, that's healing. Quiet, sacred healing. Because the world outside still wants you in it, and the more you walk through it, the more it begins to feel like home again. Do you remember when you used to walk holding tiny hands? Your child asking questions about ants or the sky? Remember when your legs didn't ache after the stairs? When your shadow was taller and your mind moved faster? You may feel far from those days, but they're not gone. They live in your rhythm, in the way your feet still know how to carry you. You're not trying to be who you were. You're learning how to love who you are now, and walking quietly each morning teaches that kind of love. It reminds you that your breath, though slower, still flows, that your heart, though softer, still beats, that your life, though changed, still matters deeply. Some mornings you'll walk and cry. That's okay. Tears are just another kind of movement. They carry what words cannot. Some mornings you'll walk and remember a laugh, a hand you held, a voice you miss. That's okay too. Memories walk beside us. And when you step forward, you're not walking away from them. You're walking with them. There's peace in that, a kind of peace that no medication can give. And slowly over time, you'll notice things shift. You'll sleep a little better. You'll feel less foggy. Your steps, though still cautious, begin to feel like a kind of strength. You'll feel less like the world is passing you by and more like you're part of it again. That shift isn't loud. It's not a transformation that comes all at once. But one morning you'll look up and realize you're not just surviving. You're quietly, beautifully living, and maybe even looking forward, not to something big, not a trip or a celebration, just the walk, the morning, the way the air feels on your skin. That's what walking gives you, not just time, but presence. In part 3, we'll talk about what happens in the mind, how walking can restore focus, ease anxiety, and help you rediscover moments of joy in the smallest places. Because after 60, joy doesn't need fireworks. Sometimes it just needs the sound of your own feet, moving forward. And if today you haven't walked yet, don't worry, there's still time. Even if it's just to the edge of the porch, even if you just sit and feel the wind, it still counts. Because healing begins the moment you choose to show up, to life, to yourself, and tomorrow, maybe you'll go a little farther. 3. There's a moment just after the first few steps, when the world feels softer, you begin to notice things again. The air has texture. The morning has weight, not heavy, but present. Like it's holding space for you. And something else happens too. Something quieter, but just as real. Your mind begins to settle, not all at once, not like flipping a switch, but like watching ripples fade on a pond. You start to hear your thoughts more clearly, and then more kindly. Because walking does something remarkable to the brain. It's not just about heart health or muscle strength. It's about finding stillness through motion. It gently pulls you out of the maze, that looping spiral of worry, regret, and what-ifs. It brings you back here, to this moment, to this step, to this breath. And for so many of us, after 60, that's a gift we didn't know we still had access to. You see, when you're younger, the world expects you to be busy, always moving, always producing. But when life slows down, when careers end and the house quiets, you're left with a different kind of noise, the mental kind. You may find yourself rethinking old choices, reliving old wounds, wondering what could have been different. But walking, especially in the stillness of morning, gives those thoughts a place to go. They no longer swirl inside you like storms. They walk beside you, and in time they soften. You begin to forgive yourself more. You begin to breathe through the memories, instead of drowning in them. There's even science behind it, but you don't need studies to tell you what your spirit already knows. That when your body moves gently, your mind gets quiet enough to heal. And there's something else too. Walking creates rhythm, and rhythm creates meaning. When every morning starts with movement, your days begin to feel anchored again. You have something to return to, something that doesn't ask for perfection, only presence. Even when everything else in life feels unpredictable, your walk is yours. It becomes a quiet ritual, a private ceremony of self-care, of honoring your breath, your body, your being. And here's the beautiful truth. Your brain loves routine, especially after 60. When you give it small, gentle habits, like lacing up your shoes and stepping outside, you begin to create new neural pathways, new sparks of life. You're literally lighting up your brain with every step you take. And in that light, something grows. Hope, not the loud, dramatic kind, not fireworks or grand dreams, but the kind that shows up when you notice a flower blooming in the crack of a sidewalk, or a neighbor's smile you hadn't seen in weeks, or the way a breeze feels like a memory from childhood. That kind of hope is quiet, but it stays, and you begin to wonder, what else might I notice if I keep walking? That's the question that pulls you forward. And some days the answer is nothing dramatic, just that your thoughts didn't weigh you down as much, or that you remembered to look up at the sky instead of down at the ground. That counts, that heals. And over time, you may find that your mind doesn't feel quite as cluttered, that your memory sharpens, that your mood lifts, even if just a little, because motion creates clarity, and clarity makes space for peace. In part 4, we'll walk a little deeper into the soul of this journey. We'll talk about the unseen gifts, the emotional strength, the unexpected joy, the sense of being alive again that walking gives you, especially when so much of life has already been lived. And we'll end with something even more precious, a simple invitation to return to yourself, day by day, step by step. Because this isn't just about walking, it's about remembering that you're still becoming, and morning by morning, you are. And so, here we are. If you've made it this far, maybe something inside you is whispering, it's not too late. Not too late to feel better in your body. Not too late to wake up with purpose. Not too late to start something quiet and beautiful just for you. Maybe your knees aren't what they used to be. Maybe the neighborhood looks different now. Maybe you walk a little slower than you did in your 40s. But none of that matters. Not really. Because every step you take now means more than it ever did before. You're not just walking for your health. You're walking for your future, for the extra years you still deserve. You're walking for your peace, for the stillness that helps you hear your own heart. You're walking for the memories you still want to make. You see, the miracle isn't in walking fast or far. The miracle is in showing up, even on the hard mornings, even when the sky is gray, even when the world feels a little quieter than you'd like. Because when you show up for yourself, when you take those slow, simple steps, your body listens, your heart softens, and your soul feels seen. There's something sacred about choosing movement, about telling life, I'm not done yet, so let the others sleep in. Let the world rush past. You'll be outside, feeling the earth beneath your feet, one breath at a time, one sunrise at a time. Because this is your time now, to live softer, to walk lighter, to dream again. And if this message touched you, if it felt like a quiet truth you've been needing to hear, please don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone you love, a friend, a neighbor, maybe someone who needs a reason to take that first step. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like more peaceful reminders like this, made just for hearts like yours. Leave a comment below. Tell me where your morning walk leads you, or how this story made you feel. I read every word and I'd love to hear yours. Thank you, truly, for being here, for walking with me, for choosing to keep going. See you on the next quiet morning. Same time, same peace, same beautiful step forward, with love always.